This video that I'm shooting is for The World is Flat, pages 126 through 166. And again, we're talking about this time we're talking about three forces that help to flatten the world. And the first source, or the first reason that flatten the world, or the first force that flatten the world, excuse me, we're talking again about outsourcing. Specifically, our example is that of India. And really, India around the middle 90s to mid to late 90s, India became what's known as a second buyer. Basically, a second buyer is someone that enters the market after a first buyer enters the market and they fail at whatever they're trying to do. So India became a second buyer of all the fiber optic lines that were put in, because the dot-com boom was kind of past, and there were fiber optic lines that existed all over the world, and they bought them all up. Foreign investors looked to India and trying to utilize these fiber optic lines, and they made a bunch of companies within India because there was a IT boom. India really started teaching in their universities and institutes technology, because this was the way of the future. And a lot of jobs were moving there because it was cheaper labor for American companies. India profited from not only the dot-com boom, but the dot-com bust as well, because there are more jobs that went over there to keep costs down. And this is certainly one force that flattened the world. Another force that flattened the world was that of offshoring. And essentially what offshoring is not necessarily moving jobs to other countries, but moving the manufacturing aspect to other countries. So we might put in a factory in Mexico, might put a factory in Italy or the Philippines. This is called offshoring. And the main example that the book talked about was that of China. China joined the WTO in the 90s, and really that opened the floodgates for companies to offshore over there, bring their manufacturing ends over there. Again, there's a huge manufacturing, huge push to also bring the developing aspect over there. There's a push for the educational fields to really go in that direction. And this is again affecting prices, keeping costs down for American companies, how they can have somewhere else in country X create a product for cheap that they can then sell to country Y. The shift to development is a result because manufacturing will end one day. Eventually those jobs will leave China and they'll go somewhere else that's cheaper. Really, American managers are looking towards the new China. These are young, open-minded Chinese managers that know China well enough, but also have the open enough mind to understand world economics, that can understand Chinese economics as well as Western economics, and they can merge the two, and they can be loyal. The third force that flattened the world was that of supply chaining. And a supply chain is basically going from originally coming up with an idea for a product, making the product, distributing the product, and getting the product out to the retailer, and then finally to the consumer. This iPod was obviously made somewhere, and then eventually it came to me. A global optimization, because of keeping costs low, we can send out research and development in other parts of the world, manufacturing in a different part of the world, and then we can send those to retailers. With the advent of really point of sale systems and the internet, we can have someone when somebody buys an item, say in Walmart, that inventory says there's one less widget in here, we need to order one from China. And essentially that is streamlining the whole process of of manufacturing, distribution to the consumer, and these were the three forces that flattened the world. Thank you.